Hello everybody, my name is Riley. You may know me as Honey Rags and I'm a full-time reseller. I resell on Poshmark, Etsy, and eBay. So if you're familiar with my YouTube videos, I used to always end that intro with "and Relovv." But as you can tell by the title, I'm not going to be selling clothing on Relovv anymore because Relovv is closing. I know not every one of you is a member of the Instagram reseller community, so this may be news to some of you. So I'm going to kind of just quick go through the timeline. And I do want to let you guys know before I get into the nitty gritty, I do not have any insider information on why Relovv closed. I can give my opinions on it and the timeline of events and give you guys my thoughts, which is what I'm going to be doing. But I don't have the inside stats. I was not aware of the decision-making process that was going on behind the scenes. I really didn't expect to get the email that I received. So I received a mass email along with, I think, every other member of Relovv that Relovv was closing on March 13th. Directly following this email, I don't even think I read through the email because I was so shocked. And I can't say that it completely caught me by surprise. Well, actually, that's a lie. It caught me by surprise. But I don't want to say the fact that they completely closed down surprised me. I think it was the timing and the abrupt halt. Like, we're closing. And you guys have this many weeks to place in your final orders. That really caught me by surprise. But the fact that they actually closed, like I said over in my Instagram stories, didn't completely surprise me. And I'm going to get into that in a minute. But I also want to say, before I start throwing out my thoughts and opinions, I do not have any tea. Like I said, I was not aware of this before it happened. I found out at the same time the rest of you found out. So if you guys are looking for tea, I'm not going to be pouring it in your cup today because I don't have any. I advocated for them throughout the entire time that I was on the app, except for the past few months. If you guys have noticed, I haven't been bringing them up as much. I think the last time I really brought them up was when I made my last video on why you should join Relovv, which was right after they had a huge update and they had a lot of new features that I thought people were going to catch on to, and I thought that would be like the starting point for them to really take off, and that didn't happen. Now, I haven't made a post about this over on Instagram. Like I said, I just brought it up in my stories, and I waited a few days before I made this video, and the reason for that is because really I was overwhelmed and I had to collect my thoughts. I promoted and campaigned for them for so long to you guys, so the fact that I have to be making this video now is shocking. I didn't really want to necessarily make this video to draw attention to the fact that they're closing. I mean, the people behind Relovv were always so sweet to me, and I know this is a huge blow to them. So I definitely don't want to be drawing attention to it. But like I said, I campaigned for them so hard that I owe you guys a video explanation on my end of why I think Relovv closed and my thoughts on it. When I made my previous videos about Relovv, keep in mind, those were not sponsored videos. I have never taken a paid sponsorship by an outside company like that to give you guys a good review or a good opinion. Not that I think there's anything wrong with people who do that, but I want you guys to know everything I said about Relovv in the past, I meant. That was coming from me 100%. Nobody paid me to say that. Nobody told me to say that. My previous videos about why you should join Relovv, I was not paid or sponsored to make those videos. I made those videos because I wanted to, because I believed in the company. So keep that in mind throughout the rest of this video. I tried to think, where did they go wrong? And I dug through the deepest banks in my memory, and I could not really put my finger on it. I think with Relovv, they got a really firm grip within the reseller community because of their Instagram profile and because of other resellers like myself who spread the word. But I think that grip didn't really stretch outside of the reseller community as far as it needed to. So obviously, no matter how many people you have selling on a platform, you also need buyers. And I just don't think they were getting that. I think a lot of the buyers were people who were already in the reseller community. I think a huge problem for them was also the the fact that they came at a time where Poshmark is like at its peak. eBay is probably going to be around until we die. Like, I don't think eBay is going to go anywhere. So they came around at a time where all of the big players really have their foot in the door. And I think a lot of people saw it as just another sideline app. I noticed when I was actually shopping on the app, this was about maybe last summer sometime. This was when I was still campaigning for them and advocating for them, because I was still having, sales. Though they weren't like enough to replace an income or anything. I was still having sales sprinkling in. And there were a few times that I had credits on there and I wanted to go shopping for myself. At one point I was looking for a show me your moo dress, and there was only one in my size. So I think a lot of people who probably went to the site early on looking for something saw that they didn't have a very large selection, and that probably turned them off right away. Because if you go into, this new app called Relovv and you're looking for a specific style of dress in a certain brand and you only see 5 options, but you can go over to Poshmark or eBay and see hundreds of options, what would make you come back to that app? I mean, they had great features that really honestly blew my mind, like the Relovv match and the fact that everything was free shipping on the site. But if you don't have a big enough selection, having the actual buyers, which are the most important, people will argue that sellers and buyers are equal, but we all know that it's the customer or nothing. But as far as like the buyers, what's going to draw them back if the selection is small? And there were a couple of times that I would go back and I would look for the show me your moo dress, and I would search it in, and there were only, after a month, there were only 2 more dresses added. So it's like, how often are buyers going to keep going back and checking just for them to have a couple more added? Now, that's not their fault at all. I'm just saying these are my thoughts on why I think it didn't take off. I'm not going to lie, over the past few weeks before I got this email, I didn't really list new things on their site, just because I figured, well, I already have, 200 things listed and those aren't moving. So let me focus on the apps that are actually selling for me, which is why I stopped bringing Relovv up as much as I was in my previous videos. When it really started to take off, like when I saw a lot of people posting about it, the website still had a lot of glitches because it was still in beta. And although people understand what beta means, if the app keeps crashing for you and there's so many bugs and glitches that half the people who are using it just get frustrated and end up deleting it, 6 months later when those glitches are fixed, how many people are going to go back to that? Because that's one thing I noticed. Like in the beginning, when I first joined Relovv, before they actually reached out to me, I saw a lot of people in the community posting about it, which is why I joined, because I'm like, oh cool, new app. And although it didn't really have any crazy amount of glitches for me, there were a few times that the app crashed. There were a few glitches that I noticed from the beginning, and I was patient enough to wait them out. But I think for a lot of people, the glitches were so frustrating that they just ended up deleting the app or not using the app. And I think by time they actually got the app exactly how it should have been, like glitch and bug free, I feel like maybe it was a little too, what's that phrase? Too little too late or something like that. Because their climax, when they reached their climax, when everybody was reposting about this site, they still had bugs and glitches. So if the climax would have happened like a year later, maybe they would have gained some more ground. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just trying to like put pieces together. I don't know if Relovv is going to have any more explanations about why they closed. I don't think they have to tell people why they closed. I mean, as much as I want to say, oh, we deserve to know why, it's a huge blow to them. They were trying everything, so I can't say that they didn't try hard enough. I really wanted to give you guys more information than what I did, and I feel bad even releasing a video with such minuscule amounts of information on something that I advocated about so much and so consistently for a while. But I'm really left in the dark just as much as you guys are, and I just kind of made this video to close the book so that you guys aren't left off with this video of me telling you guys to go join Relovv, you know, 5 months ago or whenever I made the video, 6 months ago, and never hearing about it again from me. So I am going to close the Relovv chapter. I think people live and they learn. What did I learn from Relovv closing? I guess not to get my hopes up. If there's another upcoming app in the reseller community, I'm probably going to let it take off on its own before I go in knee deep, because then I have all this explaining to do. And like I said, it is uncomfortable to take this video, especially for those of you who took time out of your lives to list on that app because I told you that it's going to be the next big thing. I mean, that's embarrassing. Like, that's uncomfortable for me, but I owe it to you guys to make this video. And if you guys have any questions or comments, or really honestly just want to give your thoughts, leave them down in the comments below. I know for a lot of you, Relovv wasn't your favorite to begin with, and I think that for most of you was just because you weren't having consistent sales, which I think is fair. I think a lot of the reason that I had sales were because of YouTube and the fact that I got in as early as I did. I do want to say that my heart breaks for the people behind Relovv because they were always so nice and so understanding to me. And one thing that I will give them credit for before I end this video is the fact that, yeah, they listened to feedback really well. They were constantly trying to improve, and when something wasn't working, they would try something new. So they were on top of it. I think it was just bad timing. Trying to compete with the big guys, like I said, it's really, really impossible to succeed when you're going up against places like Depop and Poshmark and eBay. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to leave a link down below in the description to my Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching, and happy selling.